welcome to my channel, Elvis Presley, A to Z. If this is your first time, thanks for stopping by. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you like what you see, hit subscribe and the bell, and I'll let you know of future projects that I do. Today we are continuing with the series Inside the Studio with Elvis. We're doing track 4 from the album from Elvis in Memphis, Long Black Limousine. And this is actually the first song he started with during those sessions on January 13th. He did 9 takes to get the song, did them all in less than 18 minutes. If you haven't heard the first 3 tracks we've done, I will put the links in the description below so that you can go back and check those out. I've also included a short sample of the remix that Felton Jarvis did back in 1980. And I let you know what I think of it. Please let me know what you think of it in the comments. And as always, I do with all these songs from this album, I give a short sample of the original release. And this one is by Vern Stovall, who was a co-writer of the song. And then I think it was released in 1957, I believe it was, or 58. And then I also give a short sample of a version by a great singer, soul singer named O.C. Smith. And you will definitely hear his version being the influence of Elvis's version. So check those out. So we are here. We are at the studio, American Sound Studio. We're at the door. And if you haven't checked those first ones out, you don't know the password to get in. But I'm going to let you in today anyways. But go back and find out what that password is. If you remember it, stick it down in the comments below and let me know that you do. So enjoy it. I hope you have fun. Thanks for stopping by. And I will talk to you at the next track. Bye.
There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to blow. There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars, you know, they're such a sight to see. Oh, they're all your rich friends who knew you in the city. Well, and now they finally brought you home to me. When you left, you know you told me that someday you'd be returning in a fancy car for all the town to see. Well, everyone is watching you. Well, you finally got your dream. You're riding in a long black limousine. You know the papers ain't told of how you lost your life. The party that night. Well, the race upon the highway, oh, the curve you didn't see. Well, and now you're in that long black limousine. There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street.
Mike, you gotta move closer to the Make number, I don't know. 4. Take 4.
There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. Oh, yeah.
Something sound.
What?
We're over. Number 5.
There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. Oh, yeah. Let me start again.
One more time. Jane, hit your cymbal. This is Coach Carter.
Lieutenant. Lieutenant. There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. Oh, yeah. They're all your rich friends who knew you in the city. Well, now they finally brought you home to me. Oh, yeah. When you left, you know you told me that someday you'd be returning in a fancy car, all the town to see. Oh, yeah. Well, everyone is watching you. You finally got your dream. Well, and you're riding in a long black limousine. You know the papers, they told them how you lost your life. Oh, yeah. The party and the fatal crash that night. Well, the race upon the highway, oh, the curve you didn't see. Well, you're riding in that long black limousine. a chauffeur at the wheel, dressed up so fine. Well, I'll never love another. Oh, my heart, all my dreams, yeah, they're with you in that long black limousine. Oh, yeah, they're with you in that long black limousine. Oh, yeah, they're with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, they're with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, they're with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, they're with you in that long black limousine. Oh, shit, they're with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, they're with you in that long black limousine. Woo! Yeah, they're with you in that long black. There's a long There's a long line of mourning. It's the it's a little too hard for that quiet part, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're rolling.
There's a long line of mourners driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. Oh yeah, they're all your rich friends who knew you in the city. And now they've finally brought you home to me. When you left, you know you told me that someday you'd be returning in a fancy car, all the town to see. Oh yeah. Well, now everyone is watching you. You finally had your dream. Yeah, and you're riding in a long black limousine. You know the papers told of how you lost your life. Oh yeah. The party and the fatal crash that night. Well, the race upon the highway, oh, the curve you didn't see. Well, you're riding in that long black limousine. chauffeur at the wheel dressed up so fine. I'll never love another. Oh, shit, man. All my dreams fell out with you in that long black limousine. Well, yeah, with you in that long black limousine. Well, yeah, with you in that long black limousine. Well, yeah, with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, yeah, with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, 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 there with you in that long black limousine. Oh, yeah, there with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, 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 there with you in that long black limousine. There's a long line of mornings driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. Oh yeah, they're all your rich friends who knew you in the city. And now they've finally brought you home to me. When you left, you know you told me that someday you'd be returning in a fancy car, all the town to see. Oh yeah. Well, now everyone is watching you. You finally had your dream, and you're riding in a long black limousine. You know the papers all of how you lost your life. Oh yeah. The party and the fatal crash that night. Well, the race upon the highway, oh, the curve you didn't see. Well, you're riding in that long black limousine.
You're riding in that long black limousine.
Through tear-filled eyes, I'll watch as you ride by. Oh yeah. A chauffeur at the wheel dressed up so fine. Well, I'll never love another. Oh, my heart, all my dreams, yeah, with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, yeah, with you in that long black limousine. Yeah, yeah, driving down our little street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. Oh, yeah. They're all your rich friends who knew you in the city. And now they've finally brought you home